were raised by a single mother. When I was about 4 years old, our house burned down. Insurance didn't cover paying off that mortgage. So fortunately, my mom was a nurse and she was able to work a ridiculous amount of hours, some 80 hours a week, and pay off that mortgage while still finding us another place to live. So I've been fortunate to have a lot of really good role models in my life. Obviously, my mom being at the top of that list. Okay. When all is good, why rock the boat when my child support's low? Yes. Okay. We know who it was filed from.
She always very passionately said, I'm going to be an attorney. And she'd look at me with dead set eyes, and I 100% believed her. And not only just becoming an attorney, but actually being a good attorney that is going to make a difference. Erin's passion sets the bar for everyone else in our office. So we're at home on a Saturday night, it's 8 o'clock, Erin's phone starts buzzing. It says a lot of our staff who's feverishly working to prepare for the cases that we're going to handle that next week. They share Erin's passion, and it's contagious, and it's been spreading through our firm.
All right, thanks for staying so late. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. I love doing family law. I feel like I really help people every day. I feel like we really make a difference for people, and I feel like families are benefited from the work we do. I started this firm with $2,500 in my bank account, and in the course of a year, I've helped over 200 families find a way to get through the turmoil that they're experiencing. I'm Erin Morse, and I'm here to help your family find your new normal.
What should I do?
What should I do? What should I do?
What should I do?
What are my rights? What are my rights?
What are my rights?
A legal course of action.
A legal course of action.
A legal course of action. A legal Morse of action.
I will say I am a champ. Oh, stand by. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you loud and clear. Let me switch this up so we see you. And could you bring your laptop? Are you happy there?
I can't reach it.
Because I know it has that.
There you go.
Okay.
That should have made a difference.
That works.
Yeah, it makes a total difference. Is that better?
It is better. It is better.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Legal Morse of Action. This is episode 21. How you doing today, Erin?
Oh, I am average. I am where I belong.
We started a little bit late because you were still working, and
Isn't that like the story of my life?
it really is.
Yeah.
I've never walked into this room and you not on a case. Like you're nonstop.
He has to set up all of the cameras and everything around me, like actually actively working on a case. It's crazy.
And I always try not to throw off your flow because you have an established flow. And God forbid I do one little thing and boom, it throws off everything that you got going on.
Oh, got a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a case that's really contentious, but it was a good call. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I
And
like this one.
we were talking about this right after the phone call that I wasn't expecting for that person to be the way that they actually are.
Yeah, exceptionally good, right?
Yeah.
In an exceptionally good way.
There are a couple of attorneys that I've dealt with that you've dealt with that screw it, that are assholes.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes court of public opinion puts that label on you guys because of the work that you guys do.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I mean, fortunately, the dude that you were talking to before the show started was a cool dude.
He's great. He really is. I like working with him, and I'm glad he's on the team.
So tonight's episode, we're talking about you gotta pay. And the emphasis on the show itself is because of the fact that legal fees are something that really don't get talked about until like the very end of a case, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the overriding thing that you want to remember
Mm-hmm.
when having an attorney be on your case, and this is almost with anything, if someone is good at something and the service and skill that they provide is valuable, they will make sure that they get the value paid to them, right?
100%.
So when you're looking for a good service for something that's important to you, you want to pay someone who's good at it, because someone who's good at it is going to be like, I can make money off of this, right? Because
exactly.
I should. So when you pay for something like a consultation, we get a lot of complaints, if you will, that we charge for consultations. A habit and intention. I have there's no foreseeable change to that unless a special event of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I will always charge for consultations. So when people are like, I don't want to pay for a consultation, I'm like, you're going to be real surprised when I tell you how much it is for me to actually do work.
Yeah.
And we are working in a consultation. During the consultation, we give the legal advice. Like, we give the goods on what needs to happen in your case.
Mm-hmm. I know there have been tons of times when I'm booking a consultation with a prospect or whoever, and I throw it out there. Hey, the consultation fee. You guys don't do free consultations, and I just want to yell at them. I'm like, you're paying for the attorney to review your case, break down your case, and give you possible legal outcomes to what's going to happen with your case. If I was dealing with something of that magnitude, I would definitely have to pay for a consultation.
You almost want to think of it. I mean, it's really similar, but you should think of it in the same way that you think of going to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's literally no person who believes that they go in to speak with a doctor and there's no cost for the appointment.
No way.
Even if they're like, all right, let me take a look at that. That's not skin cancer, right? You still pay whatever the fee is for the doctor's appointment.
Exactly. You're paying for that, for the doctor's time and for the knowledge that he put so many years into obtaining.
Exactly. So, why wouldn't it be the same for a lawyer?
Mm.
So, we charge for our consultations and we secure an entire hour, and I will speak with nobody else during your consultation and make sure that I give you all of the time that you're entitled to and let you ask all the questions that you need to ask.
And I've sat down with other attorneys in my legal career during a consultation, and they break it down. They of course they ask like, hey, so what's going on? How can I help you? And once they have the story, once you find out what's going on, immediately, even as they're telling the story, your mind's already like, oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do that. Oh, we can do this. And it's worth the investment.
Right. Also, there are plenty of times where I have consultations and I'm like, you don't need a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you should do to try to solve your problem. I don't think that the legal arena is going to resolve this for you.
Yeah.
So that's worth it, I think.
Oh, no.
Pay $300 to know you don't need a lawyer and you can solve this in some other way.
To pay $300 to just get an ease of mind, totally worth it.
Right.
Totally freaking
or
worth
know
it.
that, I mean, it's okay. If people don't want to pay the consultation fee, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I am willing to accept that.
Yeah. It's a tough arena for attorneys when you're competing with other attorneys. There are attorneys out there that that do offer. I know.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there are attorneys out there that do offer that free consultation, but
You get what you pay for. My colleagues who offer free consultations, at least my understanding of how they handle it, is they typically hold back on legal advice.
definitely.
That free consultation is, will I take your case? Right? Am I willing to take your case? Oh yeah, we can help you with that. Yeah, it's a divorce. That sure is. Cool. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I do in court and how I am, and then it's a sales pitch. It has to be, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. I will give the legal advice, right? My sales pitches and you finding out that you can move forward. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm involved in a group chat that has been going off like crazy today.
Okay.
And I just saw a message in this particular group chat that someone said, "Can I get deleted from this chat? I really don't know anyone here." And I'm so sorry because it's not my group chat, but there's been probably 150 messages. And
those are annoying. Those are super annoying.
And because they're not all iPhone users.
Oh, don't you wave that flag, Erin. Come on.
You got a little sore spot there. Because they're not all iPhone users, whenever someone does that reaction that they do in iPhones, it comes up as a brand new message.
Oh.
Which is pretty annoying, if I can tell y'all. I'm not saying I've never done it. I've done it. I've been guilty of it. But it is annoying when you're getting text messages and then you get another text message that like so-and-so liked, you know?
Yeah. No, that's actually why I left my previous Snapchat group that I'd organized at our previous firm, because it was just constant, just the stupidest things getting brought up. And I'm like, I don't want to get the reminders about this. I don't want to get notifications about this. Goodbye. Had to leave those. They get annoying.
I turn off notifications often. I
But-
love turning off notifications on apps and things. It's my favorite. They're like, this is not Joe Jones. That's not the name.
Of course.
And that person's like, no, I don't know any of you.
So going back to the topic about legal
There's
fees.
22 people in the group chat. They all are like liking and responding to everything.
No, I actually, a quick story before we jump back in. I had gotten a group text a few weeks ago. And it was it was a scam. You could tell this was a scam because they were trying to tell you, hey, your warranty.
Oh yeah,
So-
we've been trying to reach you about your vehicle's warranty.
We immediately realized, everyone in this group chat, like, I didn't send this. Who are you? So we finally go through the whole, like, this isn't us. And we begin to berate the person who started the group chat, and just because I'm not going to say it out loud, but you know where these little call centers and these organizations are from, a certain country, and country. There we go. And we just start bullying this person to the point where they actually start messaging back and insulting us and our government and our nation. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to block all of y'all. I'm done with this. Have a nice day.
Yeah. You know, it's easy to block. What am I doing? It's easy to block like phone calls, but I don't know why it's not that easy to block
Group chats or text messages?
text messages. It's just not the same.
I'm sure there's probably like a feature out there that we're not aware of. Kind of like how we were trying to go live on TikTok.
Figured it out. It's because I'm not important.
We're getting there. We're getting there. But you actually know, everyone's got to know you are important, because you have secured 2 nominations by Orlando Weekly.
Oh yeah, you know.
And not everyone.
That's it. I'm famous.
Not everyone made it. There were
And TikTok should let me go live for that.
This is actually pretty cool. I just want to take a little bit of time to say that it's cool to have your show nominated for Best Local Podcast
Yeah.
and the firm itself to be nominated for Best Kept Secret.
Yeah.
Because not everyone knows about the law office of Erin Morse, 407-900-7451.
And motherfucker, they need to.
Yes, they do.
There goes our boost.
Yeah, it's okay. The one thing that I like about this, this time of year, it is the most wonderful time of year for networking because everyone and their mothers literally is berating everyone else. Hey, vote for me for this, vote for me for that, vote for me for this. And I'm excited because of the fact that you were up against probably 20 other shows here in Orlando. And you beat out, I think it was 11 or 12 other shows.
Yeah.
And you got that slot.
I'd like to say it was because of my pretty face, but you don't see it on a podcast.
But we do have the recognition through Facebook.
I got the face for a podcast.
But yeah, if you are listening, please go to the vote.orlandoweekly.com. We are under local color, under the ballot for Best Kept Secret, which is the law office of Erin Morse, and Best Local Podcast. First year out there, Erin, and you got the nomination.
Make it not so secret.
We have billboards, people. We're out there. You Google Erin, you're gonna find everything that we do.
Yeah.
So just tell your mothers, tell everybody.
Tell your mother. Just your mother. Moms talk a lot.
Oh yeah,
they talk. Mine does. Mine is.
Oh yeah, no, mine does too.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
God. And you tend to do that like oh yeah, and like sometimes I don't even know what the hell she was saying the whole time.
Yeah.
Still
And because she has a thick Boston accent. Is it hard for you to understand her sometimes?
No.
Okay.
No, I think with working with you for over 2 years.
Yeah, whenever I get saucy, I sound more from Boston.
Yeah.
That happens. That does happen.
Your New England does come out when you get certain people grind your gears.
Yeah.
But getting back to this topic about legal fees,
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. Why is it that, let's say, for example, personal injury attorneys always want to give away that free consultation for those cases?
Well, they have a very different set of rules that they practice under with, the Florida bar, right?
Mhm.
So what the Florida bar allows certain areas of law to do, including personal injury, is you can get what's called a contingency fee.
Mm-hmm.
And in family law, you really are not allowed to do that because they don't want you to have a vested interest in the outcome of a family matter.
Because you guys have to keep the interests of the child at
Right.
first.
Right. It's the best interest of the minor child and finding equity between the parties.
Mm.
So because there's a different way of that, whereas in personal injury, oftentimes you're going to court against an insurance company. So you're not harming a family with your advocacy.
You're going after the insurance company.
Exactly. So the difference is that with my advocacy, if I had a vested financial interest in the outcome of a case and I wasn't willing to encourage my client to settle for what's fair and what's right, then I'm advocating for the wrong reasons, or there's a risk of it, right? I can't say that I would do that. I will turn down cases that I think would harm a child or something that I think would be harmful.
Mm-hmm.
But the Florida bar is concerned that we would go after people or not, encourage our clients to have good settlements because we have attorney's fees tied to the other end.
Yeah. And usually when and I go back to the whole topic about paying for a consultation for a family case. I mean, it's an investment because you're trying to fix a problem that you're going on in your life right now.
Yeah.
Whether it's divorcing that asshole or getting that asshole to pay you child support or having this asshole be able to see his kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that it's going to alter your life. It's going to change your daily routine.
Right.
And usually with the personal injury cases, I mean, you're trying to fix something that completely broken, whether it's your vehicle
or you're trying to advocate for the insurance company to provide to someone to make them whole. Like it's a different standard. At the end of it, so a lot of judges will say this, and this comes across often in family law. No one wins at the end of a family law case, right?
Yeah.
There's no winning really there, right? So I had a judge recently, he kind of made a comment because we were doing an adoption hearing, and that's a happy family law thing. And he goes, these are my favorite kind of hearings. He goes, because usually in family law, he goes, in criminal law, it could go either way. In civil law, there's a clear winner or a loser.
Mm-hmm.
In criminal law, you go to jail or you don't, you're guilty or you're not.
Yeah.
In family law, no matter what the ruling is, he goes, I never view it as one party wins or the other. He goes, it's really not like that. There's no winning in family law, and both sides hate you at the end of your here, like him as the judge. Both sides hate you at the end of the hearing. So it's totally different because it's a court of equity, not a court of, law, like civil cases where there's a winner and there's a loser. You breached the contract or you didn't.
Yeah.
Or, in an injury case where you were injured and you're entitled to be, made whole by this amount of money.
Is it that the like whether it's criminal, a personal injury, civil litigation, like it's like you got to hold someone accountable for actions, right?
Right. And it's in civil in general, it's money being passed from one party to another, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then in criminal, it's arguing over someone's freedom. Right. It is.
It is. Yeah. It truly is.
Yeah. It's your due process and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
In family, what are we arguing over? Let me start on all the things that we're arguing over, right? Property rights between parties, ownership interests in values of businesses, alimony, how someone's going to be supported, child support. That is the right of a child. So that child's not even here to advocate for themselves. So we can't waive it. And you've got to deal with it anyway. Time sharing, how much of a parent you can be to your children in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then what rights you have to make what decisions for your children and what rights your children have in making these decisions. Like
there's a lot of factors involved.
Yeah, it's just, it's so much more, which is why it's a court of equity.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Also, why it's complex, and you want to make sure you have a good attorney who can think about and view all of these things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to have, your eyes on three different, really.
No, you guys are freaking Jedis. You got to be doing so much at one time.
Right.
Whether it's a motion, whether it's reviewing discovery, whether it's serving other parties. Like there's so many intricate pieces to a divorce, to just a family case in general, that needs your attention.
Yeah, what's going to happen with property and income and children?
Yeah.
Decisions.
The next topic.
Good luck doing it on your own.
The next one I want to talk about is retainers. Now, I almost spelled it wrong. There are questions that have been come up recently from different parties into like what is a retainer? Like why am I paying this apart from what I'm asking for?
So the retainer part is to retain me as your attorney, meaning you cut me out and cut me off from anyone ever retaining me against you. So you essentially are keeping me away from other people or from ever being able to advocate against you. And that is something that the Florida Bar advises that we take up front, because once I take a case, it also reduces how many other cases I'm willing to take.
Oh.
So once you hire me, I then close my door to a lot of other people. So for that, the Florida Bar, this is a pretty big recommendation from them. The Florida Bar recommends that we take this and that we ensure we have this as to make sure that we secure our services properly.
For your time and efforts.
Right? Skill and, whatever. And that, again, no one can hire me to go against you, which is a pretty big deal. That becomes an issue. It's an issue that I've dealt with before where someone consulted with me and didn't tell me their full name.
Mm.
So I couldn't do a proper conflict check. Or they told me a wrong name, really. They used like a middle name as their last name. They were, and then we prepared the husband's case, right? The wife did this, then the husband hired me, and we got through a decent amount of their case, and then all of a sudden she was like, I consulted with her. And I'm like, what? I don't know you. Right? I didn't. She didn't retain. It was whatever. And then we went through our books and we found her first name and her middle name and not her last name. Like she
Oh
didn't give us the right
no.
name. She because we have the client fill out the form,
the intake form.
and she gave us the wrong name.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I had to withdraw from that case. Like I actually went to court over it because he really was like, no, this is the attorney that I want. It's not enough. And we went to a hearing on it, and the judge was like, oh well, it's a little shaky. So
We can't. You can't have what you want. Sorry.
right, but it just sucks. Poor guy. He was a good client too. Yeah, so this happens. So it's why we, in order to cut me off from everyone else, she definitely, once it started like moving forward, I think she remembered and all of a sudden was like, I don't want this lawyer on the other side. That's what I think really happened, that she was, all of a sudden it was a thing. So that's scary.
So that's a pretty good breakdown of a retainer for a case. Now,
Yeah.
when working on the case, I mean, you're giving your time, your effort, your knowledge to get the ball going.
Yeah. And we have a hybrid approach to how we charge. In many instances, we charge a flat fee for certain stages of the case, right? So a flat fee for the initial paperwork, a flat fee for mediation, so that you can stay in control of your billable hours. However, certain billable hours are going to fall outside of that, like additional communications, and for motions that were unexpected that were filed by the other side, we have to respond to those, and we can't let your case go for that. And then if you call us and you're like, I have an emergency motion and I need this filed immediately, of course we're going to do it because we advocate for you, and that's how we're going to make sure that we do everything that your case needs. But that creates billable hours. So sometimes there are, and very often there are, things that fall outside of the flat fee, if you let it.
Like for example,
sometimes we have clients who feel it very, very necessary to contact and have phone calls and emails that are quite voluminous with our office, and demanding advice from the attorney on things.
Yeah.
And that, for example, will rack up a bill, because just like you, when you clock into work, you're paid for the hours that you're working. So if I'm working on your case, I am charging for that time, because that's how this works. Right? In the same way, once you're at work and you clock in and you start working, those are the hours for which you get paid based on your billable hour. Now, what's different about a person who clocks in and works their regular job than an attorney is you could clock in and go take a 15-minute coffee break, and if no one really knows, it doesn't really matter, and you get paid. I don't have that. I can only bill for the time that I am actually actively working on your case. Like, I'm not billing anyone's case right now.
Yeah. and that's where like the case management software that all law firms utilize to keep track of said billable hours.
Exactly. It's why we calendar things. It's why we keep track of it. Also, it's important to note that administrative side of keeping track of things in the organization and the preparation of your bills and those kind of things, we can't charge for. So I don't charge for preparation of your bill, despite the fact that takes an hour and a half. There's a lot more to it than is really seen, right? The other side of this. So, that's kind of the balancing act. That's the difference, is I'm not paid for an 8-hour day when I work on your case. I'm paid for only the 1.5 hours that I did the case research or did the preparation for your hearing, etc.
Got it. Got it. So when it comes to drafting documents, reviewing documents, communication with opposing counsel, communication with the client themselves, and travel,
Right.
those are things that will get billed
Yeah.
On people's cases.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the thing is, like, there are a lot of times, and I'm saying this from my standpoint, when we bring you an invoice, there are times where, like, you'll credit someone on a case.
Times.
There are times that
How often?
you do it a lot.
Every fucking file.
And
I don't think you know how many times Kyle has come back to me and been like, do not credit this. Like, you worked hard on it. Don't do this, right? Got to advocate for ourselves too.
No, exactly. And it's not just, is it more of a ethical thing that, like, you give the credit, or is it just like,
It just is what I think is right.
okay,
What I think is fair, Sometimes, I don't know. I think that's what's fair when it's, voluminous, context laden things, I'll do it. Or, sometimes if I think, our notices of unavailability, like just certain things, I think that it's definitely work that's been done on their case and it is for the protection of their case. But I write it off because I'm like, this isn't exactly fair that, opposing counsel decided to send 14 emails on one objection to my maternity leave.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you. You know who you are. You know who you are. Okay. And you won't get your hearing.
Yeah, you should listen to episode 20 and hear all the crap.
Still mad about that.
Oh man, I can't. Yeah, we talked about that afterwards, and even talked about it in office with the staff over how heated you were.
I was
over that incident. But going back to this topic, and I'm just saying this from witnessing it many times. You'll be here after hours. Like, attorney's offices close at 5:00. We do have a 24-hour answering service in case of emergencies, things like that.
Gleam.
But you are working on a case, honest to God, sometimes 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, you've seen my emails at weird hours. Don't tell people that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That I work a stupid amount of hours.
You do.
And then I get this kind of bullshit back. I'm like, are you serious? You know what I do for your case?
The amount of effort and the amount of work that you do outside of the normal 9 to 5, it's astronomical. It's insane. And
also, I'm arguing and fighting for your children. I'm also someone's mommy.
Yeah.
Soon to be 2 people's mommy. They deserve time with their mommy. I'm fighting for you to have time with your children. Anyway,
have a heart.
So when that crazy ass opposing counsel asked me to schedule mediation for the weekend, I almost like smashed my laptop over my knee. I was like, fucking no.
I was gonna say, like, we already lost the boost, right?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know nobody really likes to work on the weekend. I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
No one's gonna make me.
Nope.
Don't tell me what to do.
I just remembered our conversation from earlier.
I know, I'm so hard-headed. I was telling him a story, and this was about like some medical procedure I was having. And it was nothing that was that big of a deal, but they were like, we're probably going to do this too. It was when I was having my first son, and they suggested that they were going to like do a certain medical procedure to help the birthing process go forward. And I was like, no, I don't think you are. So I can be hard-headed.
Miss Morse, we have to do this. I mean, you don't understand. And you just like, no.
I was like, do you though? Really? You think so? Okay, I bet you do. Go along now.
But as we're still on the
and I was right. You write that down, put that in your pocket. That one was, I was happy with the outcome though.
Yeah, no, I question reality sometimes. I question everybody. That's just like my state of mind. Maybe I have to work on it. Maybe I need to go back to my therapist or whatever. But like, I question everything.
Yeah.
unless it comes from you. And not kissing your ass again. And I say that every episode, but I'm really not. There have been so many times where I'm like the little dude in the back of the head is like, no, she's wrong. No, don't listen to her. And like everyone else in there is like, dude, we've been here before. We know what's going to happen. If Erin's saying it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
And it's usually something where I'm like, you know what that actually means? It's blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, take my advice or don't. See you later. And I just leave. And then you come back later and you're like, you're right.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said. And I'm like, I know. Thanks. I was like, so if you need anything else, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm thinking about pulling a trigger on something, and you were kind of right on stuff. So
That's all right.
yeah, it's
Fine. I'm snarky. It's
Yeah.
whatever. It's whatever. I like it.
So as we're wrapping up the subject of tonight, I want to enter the last part of attorney's fees, which is something that you always owe, and I think every attorney does this when it comes to a family proceeding, when asking for attorney's fees. What does that actually entail?
So asking for attorney's fees from like the other party.
Correct.
So you need to, when asking for attorney's fees, you need to have a right to attorney's fees in contract or by statute. In family law, much of the statute for I'm already bored. This is boring. So sometimes you can get the other party to pay attorney's fees. The reason for that is because there are laws in family law, chapter 61 and 73, that allow you to have attorney's fees based on need and ability.
Mm-hmm.
So it is likened to a form of support because they don't want one side to have more available attorney's fees than the other. That doesn't mean as much as you think it does. Okay. That's not, I make $90,000 a year and he makes $150,000. Therefore, he has a better ability to pay me and he should pay my attorney's fees.
Mm-hmm.
There usually has to be some inequity, right? So
Yeah.
see that word? That's fancy. In circumstances or an inability of one party to pay. Now, there's another side of this you have to think of. Just because you think someone with $60,000 worth of income might have the ability to pay two people's attorney's fees, you're probably wrong. that you have to make sure that you can look at their finances, their available assets, if you will, and see if you can look at exactly where you would get attorney's fees from. It has to make sense to the court. And then there's judicial discretion. So
yeah,
put that one in your pocket as well, right? That judges sometimes, certain judges will think that $90,000 to $100,000 in income is not really that much money to support attorney's fees. So, you'll have to think of something practical. And again, it's a balancing test, right? You're in the scales of justice. What's on your side of the V for financial availability versus his side of the V or hers, right?
Yeah.
That happens too. So getting them from the other side, I think that the entitlement to attorney's fees, even though it exists, is a little overstated at times because judges don't like to award it. I'm not saying I haven't succeeded on it. I have.
You have.
I have a couple of cases that the opposing side are making me monthly payments. So, and it's interesting. So, but it's not a guarantee. It's a high burden and it's, and then the other way you can get attorney's fees is for like contempt or unnecessary work, or if they're not following the rules. That's mostly where I win attorney's fees, is because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, they were trying to waste your valuable time.
Yeah. So I get attorney's fees very often in that circumstance. So if I get attorney's fees awarded, of course.
There you go.
But I also have a lot of success on getting attorney's fees because I really try to only assert them when it's practical and has a high likelihood of success. So that's another secret, right, to having a high likelihood of success, is that a decent amount of my practice is that's a stupid claim and I'm not going to make it. Right? So you'll have a higher chance of success if you just don't take stupid shit to court.
And you saying those words, I mean, you're saving the client money on their case.
I've made clients really upset in a consultation. They were like, "Well, I had a consultation with you and you said I can't have full custody." I'm like, "That's not even a thing. Like, you asked me for legal advice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell you." You know? So I had a couple of people like and they were referred by good friends and they were like, "Oh, she needs help. She was served with a paternity action." And then you told her she can't have, full custody or that he's going to have time sharing and overnights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Yeah, if he's not abusive or a drug addict or something, the court's going to order that."
And there are times where like you'd said, like you don't take a case or you tell them like you don't need an attorney because like we said before, your time is valuable. You'd rather be working on other cases than wasting someone's time and or money.
Right.
And I know, like I said, I've worked with other attorneys, and there have been times where, as a paralegal, a legal assistant, we see a case and we're like, "There's no way we can win this. Why are we on this case?"
Yeah.
And there are attorneys out there that don't mind taking the L.
Yeah.
They don't care
Like,
about
you still get paid for now.
exactly. They're still getting their paycheck, but they don't care about that loss.
I thought you were talking about very recently. We had a hearing, a motion that Mary in particular, not in a bad way, but in like a, "Hey, tell me about this because I don't think that this is, something that is going to succeed in court. I've never seen an attorney do this. Do you think you can do it?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "Watch me."
Don't tell me what to do.
I was like, "No," and no, she wasn't disrespectful.
Course,
about it.
course.
Mary's great. She was like, "What do you think?" Like almost in like a really good, and I like that. I like that feedback. So it was awesome. And I was like, it could go either way, but I think we have a good faith argument about this. And we came back and it was we got a grant. So I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I got it granted." And she was like, "How in hell?" And she'd worked in other law firms, so she thought I was,
Full of shit.
well, she just thought she was like, I can see why you have a good argument for it, but, will the judge really grant this?
Yeah.
And I was like, I think he has to.
No, I mean, you have a great understanding of the law. You have a great understanding of, possible legal outcomes
Yeah.
with said cases. And then, your maneuvers and your tactics
Yeah.
to said case. Bingo, bango, bongo.
Yeah.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
It is.
It is what it is.
So we I think the last thing that's worth mentioning is what somebody could do to like be in control of their attorney's fees.
Okay.
Because that's something that I think a lot of times is maybe not fully understood. And I think that's an important aspect of what do I do in this circumstance, or how do I keep better control of it. I have a few tactics that I really try to share with my clients to be assistive to them. One of the ways is obviously review the agreement you sign and ask questions.
Yeah.
Also, I think the important thing is if every time that you have a thought scurry across your mind about your divorce,
Mhm.
do not let that reach your fingertips to make a phone call or send an email. Keep a divorce diary, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the best thing to do is to keep it handwritten or write in your phone,
Mhm.
so that when you have your meeting with the attorney that's scheduled, then you can talk about all the things that you have concerns about.
Yeah.
As a reminder, emergencies are risk of immediate loss of life or limb, and in family law cases, that the child will be removed from the jurisdiction. Those are emergencies.
If kid's father is 20 minutes late at the pickup, or
I don't give a shit.
mom forgot to put a sandwich in little
I
Timmy's
don't give a shit.
lunchbox. Come on, use your common sense.
I
Don't be
give a
petty.
shit. No, it is petty. Or, if these things are ongoing, put them in your little journal, because on that issue alone, I'm not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But in the concept of a bigger problem, right, that the child is underweight and ill and had to go to the hospital, and you realize that dad never sends lunch, that only on dad's days there's no lunch, and when dad's home he punishes them by withholding food, okay, then I care.
Yeah, that right there is
Abuse, right?
Yeah, abuse.
Oh my god, that's urgent.
That's an
We should-
emergency.
we should do something. If you think your child's being harmed or abused and your first phone call is to an attorney and not DCF, you don't really think they're being abused.
Because they have that doubt.
No, because it's to get back at the other party.
Ah, okay.
So, well, I just wanted to, and I'm like, if you truly thought it was abuse, because generally the guidepost I try to give to people is, if this is an emergency or something you think needs to be dealt with really quickly for the safety of your child, if DCF walked in and saw this happen, would they shelter your child? Would they pick them up and go, oh my God, we must protect this child? If the answer to that question is no, then we are going to have to put it on our little, scales of justice, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to add it to the scale in the scales of justice, and I'm going to need a lot more. And again, not an emergency. So unfortunately, the reality of courts is that they don't work very fast.
It's sad, but it's
you
true.
can rack up your bill really fast because you're anxious. So another piece of this that I think is worth mentioning to people is, I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist. And I am not licensed to be giving you therapeutic responses. So if when you call or you need to speak with me, you're like, it's just that I'm upset that they filed this, my job is to give you legal advice. I'm not here to temper your feelings, because that's not my job.
Mhm.
I'm not good at that. I'm not licensed for it.
And in no way, shape, or form is this like coming
And
out.
it's expensive and not covered by insurance like therapy might be.
I just want to be clear to our listeners that this isn't in any way, shape, or form like a stab at people in general, but this is more of like an eye opener.
I tell them too.
I know.
If you become my client, I will tell you.
Yeah.
I will say, listen, that is related to how you feel about this process and not what the law is supporting. And I understand that this process is difficult to go through, and it's difficult for everybody. I think that every one of my clients, I know that every one of my clients really needs to have some type of therapy or psychotherapy or something. They really, really do. This is not a process that you can get through alone and in your own thoughts. So don't do it, and don't use your attorney as your therapist because of how expensive it is. Because when you tell me about a problem, I am an attorney, so I'm solution oriented, right? So
Yeah.
when you go, this upsets me, this isn't right, this isn't good, my response, because I'm an attorney, I am to solve your problem. You don't like that X, Y, and Z happens, I need to file a motion. And if you're making emotional decisions, that's a very expensive thing to do, and you're not having clarity, and it's not going to bring you to the place of ultimate, personal resolution that you need to be. So that is one of the ways that many of my clients rack up their bill so high, because I have to have this conversation with them. So, and then take action, because I'm an attorney, right? So I have to take action with the court, and action with the court is expensive.
Mhm.
So what to do is, when you're having these upset, disappointed, difficult feelings as a result of your divorce or paternity action,
Mhm.
put them in your notebook, right? Come back to them. Because then and leave some space. Then when you have a conversation with me, write down what I said. Because me repeating myself is very expensive for you.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think is worth, making sure you heed to. Sending an email every time you're like, hey, my the mother of my son wants to get a haircut. I don't agree with him getting a haircut. I have a client who spent, in hindsight, $1,500 on arguing over a son's haircut.
And that's crazy. That is wild.
Why are you bringing me into this conversation? I'm not your co-parent, right?
Exactly.
Hair grows back. By the time the attorneys resolved this issue, the child was ready for another haircut. It's not, don't do this. Stop, don't do this. So and then inevitably, this person was very upset when they received their bill. And I'm like, what did you want us to do? If we ignored your emails, we wouldn't be providing a good service. Should we not get paid because your request is unreasonable? Or should we, I don't know, show you a clock when you're, so again, take the practical approach. Make sure that you schedule your appointment with your attorney, and ultimately there's an expectation of communication, right?
Mhm.
Much of your communication is probably going to happen, for the most part, with smaller things with our paralegals.
Yeah.
But we charge for their time too.
It's not as expensive, but it's still a charge.
You can rack up a bill with them as well.
Mhm.
So the thing to do is, and there isn't an expectation that you will have a call or meeting with your attorney more than monthly. And if that, and oftentimes less than monthly is also appropriate, because you can get a quick question asked if you reach out to the paralegal and allow us to respond. So trying to keep some control of that, I think, is the best way for you to keep control of your attorney's fees. We try to flat fee for people so that they know exactly how something's going to cost, right? For me to perform a motion, you could be in control of that. But you quickly run out of control if you're like, I need to speak with the attorney today. Send me a text message every Friday that you need to speak with me today and it's emergent. And then receive your bill and you're like, I don't understand why this is $12,000. And I'm like, you demand to speak with me twice a week for an hour and a half, and then I have to take action, because when you have a phone call with me, there's follow-up action typically.
Yeah, always.
You got to file a motion. We got to do this request. We got to schedule this, right? So
and also when you receive an email with an order, with a notice, with something that gets filed by opposing party, we're already on top of that.
Yeah, I got to look at it.
Yeah. The second we receive it, as legal assistants and paralegals, we know what's going on with the case. We're just as knowledgeable as everyone else, and we're going to pass that information on to the attorney, because we're basically the ones who are filtering out not only the emails but notices, mail, everything. It goes through us, and a lot of times, we'll be like, okay, this is urgent. Erin, hey, we got this on so and so's case. What should we do? And within seconds, you're already given instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been times where, whether it's Mary, Kyle, or myself, we show you something, and about 20 minutes later, said client will call and like, hey, I just got this email about this. We need to do this and this. No, we're already on top of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we keep on top of things, of course, and we have a lot of checks and balances. And I know that this podcast seemed pretty negative or difficult, but I think that that's an important part of our practice, is that, like, the difficult reality is something we're not afraid to tell you
We're
about.
not here to give away participation trophies.
Well, and family law and the legal system is hard and a harsh reality. If ask any judge, like, you talk to them like anyone does, we don't. But any legal professional, and you'll learn that the legal system, right, is not equipped to resolve these issues. They're not equipped to resolve all of your issues. They do the best they can, because what else can be done? So not every issue has a remedy. And that's a shitty reality too.
It really is. I honest to God thought that we were going to be about maybe 25, 30 minutes on this topic, but you went ham.
I can't shut the fuck up.
You went ham today, and I appreciate it, because of the fact that this is knowledge that someone who's either about to enter this process or considering this process, it's something that you need to know. It's like you said, the harsh reality, but it's the goddamn truth. And
I know it is. It was harsh. I was pretty mean. Sorry.
No. That's kind of like why I came in, like teddy bear, like, don't worry, it's okay, we still love you. But
I'm like, raw.
But at the same time, I'd rather hear the truth than someone give me a sugar coated piece of shit lie.
Well, the problem is that they'll tell it to you. And you
Mhm.
might hear this from other people, right? And it'll be awesome and it will sound so good and it'll be these great guarantees. And it shouldn't be that expensive. It will only be $2,000 and we'll get it done for you. And then it's bait and switch.
Mhm.
So you've already engaged in this process, you already have the attorney, and then you get dropped a bill. So what we try to do is just be more honest with that, right? So if we can be more honest with these things and better advise you on what to expect, you'll know what's coming. I don't think anyone has this mistake that attorneys are cheap.
Oh no.
No one thinks that.
Nope, not
I
at all.
think they would like it. I think they were like, "Oh, I thought it'd be $1,000 and you'd get my whole divorce done while I'm fighting for custody." Right. Anyone who really truly believes that, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry for the harsh reality we
Well,
just gave you.
It's we take it with a grain of salt, but it, like I said, it's the harsh truth. It's the reality, and we're never here to sugarcoat anything. You're getting the honest truth. This is the real McCoy. All that nonsense. But
But it's because we're worth it. That's the final thought. I know
Yes.
that's what you're about to ask. I'm ready.
I was gonna ask you, like, what made you happy this week?
Um I got an email from a judicial assistant and it made me happy.
Okay.
I'm going to say she had my back
Mm-hmm.
and it was very kind and I appreciate her. And if I had a really good way to like not be unethical and send her like a box of chocolates and some flowers, I think I would. Not I think, I know. I would
Yeah,
do it.
you totally
I would do it. I would do it. She had my back. It was very professional. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Any final thoughts as we're about to get out of here?
Yes. I apologize in advance that attorneys are expensive. But you know, we're expensive because we're worth it. And there are good ways to keep control of your attorney's fees. I told you about them. And maybe another day we will go over other ways where you can, take control of the cost of your divorce and really hold that bull by the horns.
As always, 407-900-7451 to schedule your consultation. If you don't want to talk to us, go ahead, check us out online, www.morse-firm.com. We have a .com. And click the
.law is a thing. Do people take that seriously?
I don't know. Like, if I see a .net, I'm just like, ugh. Oh. It's like how you look at me when I have an Android.
Ew, green text messages.
407-900-7451, more-firm.com to schedule a consultation today with the attorneys here at the Law Office of Erin Morse. My name is Patricio, aka Rocky. Always, once again, thank you so much, Erin, for your time. Hopefully this won't be billed on my part.